And we're back, everyone. Welcome to the Wild Rift Open 4. And this time around, we are already at the quarterfinals. It's
Woo!
such an exciting moment. Top 8 teams left. And today, we will figure out who will go to the semifinals. Once again, I'm Infinity, and beside me is Riku. And Riku, what's up? We're
What's
here.
up?
We're here
We
already.
are here already. Last series
Third
of the day.
series.
I know it's time flies. Time flies.
Yeah.
Flew this afternoon, but we don't know what we're gonna get with this series. Infinity. The fact that we got both ends of the spectrum today. We got a very close. We had our first series was very close to the point that we had one game that not only reached the entire series of the BO3, but also 36 a minute game as well. And then, the previous series, there's a big 2-0 earlier by MHX Lotus. And now we're going to be having, OneSnap Catalyst, and MDH Esports. So what are we going to get? The middle of the spectrum or something from the opposite ends?
Yeah, and OneSnap Catalyst is the former Chuaa, as far as I know, as written and sent over by our FSL team, which is thank you very much, FSL team, for making this happen. So they were actually a really dominant team over the past few FSLs. So right now, matching up against MDH Esports is going to be a really exciting quarterfinals that we have on our hands today. And of course, this is possible by our sponsors, Intel and Yahoo. So shout outs to Intel and Yahoo for making this possible. So yeah, Riku, I'm really excited.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what to expect.
Oh yeah, there's been a lot of varying compositions that we've seen so far, but there has been one theme for today, which has been Baron laners have been dominating and help assist with the victories of the series that we've seen today so far, and having to winning the big 1v1s, having to activate the 4-1 split push, and having to be either that sacrificial lamb, even though you have 6 deaths, 5 deaths, it's fine as long as you're able to open up the base. We know that it's #worth, #value, and hope to see more of these incredible Baron laners here, displaying and showing off their skills here at the FSL.
Yeah, it's just weighing out the value, right? How much can you lose so that you have like benefits, right? So it's just amount of risks and benefits in the Rift. How you're able to just optimize your team to be able to get a lot of values from split pushing, from team fights, from pickoffs, from objective takes. So yeah, it's really just up to that point we're in. When it comes to expectations for these teams that we have as of yet, and split push is really dominant when it comes to the pattern that we've seen so far over the past few series that we've seen.
Yeah, I think the people that I remember, the players Ngokbe from earlier, incredible Riven player, and as well as Seto from the very scary Jace player as well.
Yeah. So now let's jump in over the draft,
Woo!
picks and bans. Let us go to it.
Let's
know what,
go.
Riku?
Yes.
I have a question.
Hit me.
Why is it called
Uh-huh.
picks and bans, but bans comes first?
Wow. That is an interesting question. Let us see. Maybe because it sounds better, because it's like it doesn't roll off your tongue easier when you say bans and picks. Maybe picks and bans.
Fair enough.
Sounds better. Aha! I've answered your question, sir.
Now moving on, let's go to the bans. We have Senna, we have Wukong, Olaf for the side for OneSnap, Illusion, Karma for Jace for MDH. With that said, we're speeding all throughout the picks. Morgana for OneSnap locked in, Shyvana, Lee Sin hovered by MDH.
You gotta love the first pick coming from OneSnap, because you don't know where that's gonna go. Yeah, Morgana can basically be flexed in the 4 different lanes, I suppose. But we'll have to see now as Shyvana being locked in. Nautilus, I like this because Shyvana just very reliant on having to get that farm on the board, and then Nautilus to supply the CC required, because Shyvana, yes, got that ult to dive in usually, but you don't have anyone to hold people down.
Right. So we'll see how this will turn out. But looking at the lineup for OneSnap Catalyst, there are a lot of utilities that they're able to utilize. You have Nasus, you have Ashe, you have Morgana. So it's looking like what we've seen a while ago when it comes to all CC type of lineup, but right now it's all utility type of setup that OneSnap is doing.
Yeah, it's like you have a lot of this utility. Where's the carry? Who's going to be the main carry? So looking at OneSnap's composition, it's most likely they, unless this is a Nasus in the bot lane, we'll have to see, or top lane for more sustain and more tankiness. So there's a lot of mystery for OneSnap's composition. Meanwhile, MDH, very more straightforward. Shyvana mostly found in the jungle, Lux in the meantime. Again, we're talking about the CC Lux, so imagine Nautilus stun into the binding. So I can't imagine that this is going to be MDH's way of engaging throughout these fights.
Yeah, and you also have Shyvana as well to be able to knock back the enemy teams if ever it comes down to it. So there's a lot of CC chains that you're able to utilize for MDH Esports. And when it comes to the bans, you're seeing a lot of these Baron lane targeted bans. Renekton, Set, Fiora. So expectedly, I think MDH Esports is thinking, you know what, OneSnap Catalyst, I believe you're going for a Nasus Ashe bottom lane, so we have to ban away these dominant Baron lane champions.
Yeah, it's interesting that they're whittling down all of these Baron lane picks. So what are your options? Riven into Darius, top lane, I suppose, or you can just put Nasus at top side still and then just call it a day. All just avoid the fighting at all costs and wait for whoever the jungler is gonna be. This still could be a Morgana Ashe lane, and I think the flexibility of OneSnap's yeah, what do you call this? OneSnap's draft is like really amazing.
Yeah, and yeah, at this point in time, you just have to pick out Camille because pretty much every single ban lanes have been banned, right? You have Wukong banned, Renekton, Set, Garen, Fiora. Jace has been banned as well. Lucian potential for top lane has been banned as well.
Yeah, Darius is the only one that's left, basically.
Yeah.
Oh.
So let's see how this would turn out. But what would the last pick be?
It has
That's
to be
the
a
question.
carry. It has to be a carry. Unless they go 1-3-1. If they lock...
That is indeed possible.
Yeah, if they lock this in, this is indeed a 1-3-1. It is.
Oh, they're going for it, Riku.
Yeah. So Zed and Camille split push with the Ashe using the crystalline arrow to stun any person in the side lanes dealing with Camille and Zed. That is the gameplay, and that's what they're going for. Meanwhile, MDH, if they have Aurelion Soul here, this is going to be their response. Also, big side lane pressure, but with the Ahri getting picked up, it's going to be a classic Zed versus Ahri in the mid lane.
Yeah, and I like that better. Because Aurelion Soul is going to have a hard time up against Zed, especially when it comes to an all-in. If there's Ahri, you have the charm to be able to utilize and deny that ultimate and engage coming from Zed. So, a lot to think about in this series for the quarterfinals. Right now, Riku, we have our draft locked in. What do you think? What do you expect?
Oh, I am expecting the 1-3-1 to be most on the difficult side of execution. I think for me that I'm looking forward to is the Zed versus Ahri. Not only it's a a classic matchup at League of Legends, it's also like how do they are able to execute. I'm excited to see like the outplay potential, to see how this 1v1 is gonna work. Unless Den gets a little bit more, Morgana gets a little bit more involved in this and just cancel out all the CC with the Black Shield as Lux is there, and the Charm is also there on the Ahri.
Alright, we're looking at a lot of poking compositions, a lot of a 1-3-1 for OneSnap Catalyst as well. We'll see if they're able to push through based on their winning condition, based on their playstyle. What I'm really excited to see though is Shyvana. I've seen a lot of Shyvanas when it comes to ranked games, but it is actually quite different.
Yeah.
So is Shyvana going to be that game changer, or is it going to be the downfall for MDH?
That's true, I agree. Because there's a... Like, we see it in ranked, but it's very different in coordinated play. And I feel like the necessary CC is there to hold people down. Because usually that is one of the weaknesses of a Shyvana. Like, once you go in, you can't really hold people down on your own. You move very fast, yes. Chase them down. Claw them a little bit. Scream at them. Roar. But then you need that CC. Yeah, you roar. That's a very, very cute roar from a Shyvana. It's more like rah.
Yeah.
It's more like that, right?
She goes dragon form, right?
Yeah, dragon form. Can't wait for that.
Like you don't know if you're gonna be afraid or what.
we should I think the intention is to be afraid when Shyvana is in Dragon Ball.
Right. But I want to talk about something that we haven't discussed as yet.
Yes.
A dual lane that has 2 support items. Relic Shield, to be more specific, for Navius and Ken. What do you think about this one, Riku?
I think it's really good, especially the fact that you don't have really much of a threat against both utility. A utility lane, which is the Ashe and the Nasus. So at this point, you're fine just trying to stack them up all at the same time and get a lot of value just releasing your skills all on that lane, on that sustained lane. So I think it's strong, but we feel like it's not exactly the default so far, as we've noticed, as we've observed at least here in the FSL and the series that we've looked at.
Right, there were a lot of different types of things that we see when it comes to like being the first pick items. And I think that also could be the reason why when it comes to, you know what, if you have a support that constantly roams, you shouldn't be able to have that 2 support items because you're not able to utilize that to the most optimal and to the most efficient type of setup. So maybe that's one of the reasons why you don't see that. But for now, we're seeing a Rift Cutler contest on topside river, but with MDH Esports not having a member advantage on top side, they're just gonna give it away, and Shyvana just has to retreat.
Yeah, it's really difficult to do anything without level 5 because when we look at the level 3 scenario, I think OneSnap has a better level 3, minus maybe the ammo is really good. I think you do need a Spirit Rush for additional damage though to finish off 2 targets, but either way it's gonna get blocked. Your whole combo is gonna get blocked anyway because of that black shield with this charm. So I like this position from MDH. You gotta be patient with, especially you're building around this Shyvana. You gotta be patient with these objectives in that farm. And down!
Yeah, but patience is not a virtue on top lane. It's a 1v1 fight under the turret, but Ignite killing down Jones. First blood for MDH.
Aurelia! Flashy play here. We talked about this before, Infinity. Remember, it's all about the top lane is the entire theme for today, and it seems to continue on up until now.
Yeah, and what we have in our notes, right, it is Aurelia, who is the star player for MDH Esports, and it's showing through and through. The first 2 minutes into the matchup, they were able to secure that first blood.
Really crazy 1v1. Now that's a really good advantage. Aurelia's gonna be happy.
Oh, there we go. Shattered Crystal Arrow follows up with a burst coming in from Zed. Going through, will not be able to secure that kill though. Not enough.
Really nicely done. I think the constellation prize for OneSnap is the turret placement dead. So we're gonna see this playstyle a lot from OneSnap where we see Jones and Rogi basically 1-3-1. Work on the side lanes. Arrow's gonna come up from somewhere and then stun someone. 1v1 initiates basically. So this is the configuration that we're gonna be expecting most of the time, especially once the lanes open up a bit more.
Definitely. We'll go right now. I'm actually really excited about the Ashe.
Yes.
Because Imperial Mandate is an OP item for that specific champion. I think I've mentioned this a while ago already, but I want to repeat it because it is such an exciting moment for League of Legends Wild Rift, having new items, and it's not just one, it's not just 2, it's a lot.
It's a lot of items, and it's like in hold that thought though. It's a Nasus.
Light Binding with a final spark. Yeah, it's a Nasus. You can't really just burst him down that easy. So he's going back with just like a 1/4 damage coming from Lux.
It's not even without her ult, imagine. Oh, whoa, Aurelia!
Oh, what?
Wow.
What just happened? Aurelia once again.
She has full HP too, just letting you know. Wow.
Yeah. Insane.
This is gonna be...
MVP, the star player, is showing.
Yeah, showing up at the very first game today for their series. And it's gonna be a big issue because yes, you do have 1-3-1, but you want your 1 to be able to face off against, you know, Aurelia here.
Another one.
Another one, exactly. Exactly, Infinity. So while Camille does have some decent scaling later on, yes, really good dueling potential, but a snowball is a snowball. You can't discount that.
Absolutely, especially with a 2-kill lead already on top side with a level lead as well on top of that. So level 8 versus level 7 when it comes to the matchup of Riven versus Camille. Right now at 5 minutes, we have 2 objectives now up, the Rift Herald and the Mountain Drake.
They're trying to contest this. They need that arrow. Rogi is pretty low. Deathmark already used. 1v1. It's a 4v4.
The Ari is nowhere to be found
They reset it. They let go.
on the bottom lane.
Yeah.
Especially, I mean, it's Rift Herald being reset, so it doesn't really matter at this point, but it's going to be a difficult time. As Aurelia, too dominant. Like, she's just walking under the turret,
yeah.
not scared against Jones.
I think an arrow will be very handy whenever Aurelia comes in. But it's a Riven, that's why. Like, you don't know which direction she's gonna go, and I think that's the problem. You might just lose the value of that arrow. So might as well save it for the team fight.
We're not having MDH Esports forcing them out to the light binding, final spark onto then. That's a huge HP damage coming right through onto the jungle for OneSnap. So they're gonna have a much harder time to be able to contest this.
See, they're coming back
They
again. Navis?
They are.
Whoa!
Nautilus is there. Tuman knockoff right through. Perfect timing in Shyvana. Diving form right through. Up against the Morgana. And now that's locked in. The CC chain is flawless.
They're still alive!
They have to go back. Ash already got a double kill. Make it 4 kills. And OneSnap Catalyst made it back.
Aurelia!
What are you gonna do next? Aurelia went in for the flash. Blade of the Excel secures that kill. Will not be able to get that dragon though, but still a good consolation prize for MDH.
That was crazy. I really thought MDH had that dragon in the bag because a lot of the members from OneSnap already pretty low. And then basically they were it's already half HP. Then they abandoned the dragon, and there's the reset that happened. Props to Ken, amazing performance, amazing positioning, and then she survived throughout all of that after even connecting all the soul shackles. So imagine.
I'm imagining.
What are you imagining? Right. Rift Herald.
So right now,
Yep.
Rift Herald. Yep. OneSnap Catalyst is going for this objective. I think it's a really good punish. You're moving the Mountain Drake, trying to get the Rift Herald, especially with Shyvana on the opposite side. It's much more difficult for me or Mie to be able to have that scaling potential. But it's not that important when it comes to the Drakes available for Shyvana. What you want is the Ocean Drake, especially the Infernal Drake to top it all off. So if ever it comes down to it, MDH Esports later on has to force those. Right now, OneSnap Catalyst, good use of the Rift Herald, opening up the mid lane, getting the map control in their favor.
Yeah, that's really important to enable that big 1-3-1 that we're talking about. Look at Rogi. She's on a mission. Wait!
Oh! The stun onto Q, followed up by Ash is there, putting out a lot of damage. Now that's gone. But there you go. Rogi on the bottom lane got a solo kill. So a 2-for-0 trade. 8 minutes into the matchup, now putting them at a 4k gold lead for 1SC.
Yeah, that's the 1-3-1 that we're talking about, Infinity. Like, really sneaky coming from Rogi. She's able to just assassinate the ammo. And the fact that they're both carrying Ignite, there's not a lot of defensive answers once somebody hits first. And now we'll see if Zonia's Hourglass enchant will be a priority here, as Rogi, she has been accumulating her own leads as well.
Yeah, she's being very, very annoying at this point in time. Getting those solo kills is a huge advantage, especially for later on, as we've seen from Aurelia being very strong in the early game. Now Zed being very strong at this point in time. And look at the bottom lane once more. It's Ari versus Rogi. Rogi just has to be stopped.
I know, right? But who can face Rogi right now? You can swap Aurelia to face Rogi, but that's the solution. I think look at Aurelia right now. That's the rotation. That's the call. We're gonna be seeing a different 1v1 now. Yep.
Yeah. Right now, Shyvana slowed down by Navis.
Calling.
But I don't think they're gonna push through. They just want that turret. Once that's done, huge gold injection for 1SC.
Wait.
Oh, Aurelia. 1v1
there it
against
is, there
Rogi.
it is!
Flash, knock up, onto Rogi. The Blade of the XL secures the kill, and this is what you were saying a while ago, Riku, and now it's done. Shutdown is there.
Yup. Swap and face the different lane for that big 131. Instead of Riven versus Camille, you deal with what do you call this? A farmed member versus a farmed member. And that's how you do it.
Yeah.
Nice adjustment by MDH.
Although the scary part about this though, if Aurelia just constantly match up against Rogi, MDH is gonna have a hard time. Who's gonna set up the play? Nautilus? Sure. But if Nautilus is in front, no one's gonna peel for the back. So there's a lot of thinking that's going through for MDH Esports if they constantly just go for Aurelia versus Rogi.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I think TU and as well as the Amo have a lot of pressure for themselves because, again, they are the ones that must hit their skill shots to initiate the fight, to let me get into everything.
Reese is there, forcing out the fact to go back away. So huge summoner cell burned by OneSnap Catalyst, just walking through the jungle of MDH.
Yeah, this is information, a lot of information by OneSnap. We can see the wards are being placed in strategic places for them to be aggressive, and I think that's how you also fight a Shyvana. Shyvana requires a lot of farm, less of these invades for sure, and I think OneSnap is attacking at a different angle, and this is also another way to win.
Yeah, absolutely. The other way, look at Aurelia on the Kai Brush, waiting for OneSnap Catalyst to do something, but Ocean Drake is alive and no one's just going for that objective. They want the Herald instead. And OneSnap Catalyst will take it for themselves, and MDH Esports just has to sit tight and wait for an opportunity to arise before they go and make a team fight.
I think it's definitely Aurelia. They may have to make it 4v5. What?
Oh, don't just do that! And now, it's going to be Rogi going for the ultimate.
Nice!
The Shadows might just save herself away from Aurelia. Good outplay.
Yeah, good dodge here. Rogi going back to the Shadow to dodge that ult coming from Aurelia. She gets to live another day. And that's the key, honestly. I feel like MDH really has to solely rely on Aurelia for now, as she's the most fed member in their team. Eliminate someone in the side lane, whoever's doing the 1-3-1, and then get into these fights, make it into a 4v5. So I think the difficult part is that Aurelia, Jonas, and Rogi can just not engage and run away, as we saw with the Shadows, as we saw with hook shots earlier. So I think it's more like, I feel like Aurelia is in a situation where it's a 1v2 right now. She has to deal with both the split pushers of OneSnap constantly.
Right. And that's just the difficulty of being a split pusher for your team, right? You just have to look at it in a way wherein you have to be aware of your surroundings. If ever someone just goes in, tries to make a gank, that's a constant problem for split pushers, especially when you're all alone. So we'll see how this would turn out, but look at OneSnap Catalyst. 2 already. And remember, you have Shyvana for MDH Esports, so
True.
It's not looking that great for MDH.
Yeah, no dragon buffs for the Shyvana for her farm. Infernal's the only one left, but just as you said, it would have been ideal to have that Ocean.
Trying to Crystal Arrow onto Darius, but Nautilus is a tanky champion that you're not able to burst down that easy, but for now, it's a 1v1 once again. Aurelia versus Rogi. Knight is there, burning down Rogi bit by bit. But for now, not gonna pull through for an all-in 1v1 engage. They're all aware and they're all waiting patiently for the Baron Nashor fight, and they just have to stay put. They have to stay still because if one member is down, that's an objective being taken advantage of one team.
There was I think Meteor.
Meteor and Chant. A lot of damage onto Mie, but Dragon Form
No.
is already used up to go back away over the wall, so
Yeah.
no ultimate for the foreseeable future for now.
Yeah, none for now. And good thing the no objectives so far set in the back, so I think Mia has some time to charge up and get that Dragon Form back. And I think for OneSnap, they have a lot of tools to get picked. with Rogi, aside from Rogi as the Zed, there's also the Enchanted Crystal Arrow. I think the same thing can be said for MDH. They have that Nautilus ult. I think everyone is just being extra careful. And that's the reason why
Yeah.
the game is slowed down a little bit.
I think that's really
Oh!
important, especially in this late game position. Q rooted out, CC chain going in golden. By some time, flash over the wall, back to safety, meet your entrance. Though might just have to kill her from that spot, but instead, actually just sidesteps and dodges death there.
Oh!
As MDH Esports going right back through. Rogi just got CC'd under the turret, got killed. MDH Esports has the member advantage. OneSnap Catalyst has to respect that. They retreat.
Yeah, I think Rogi wanted to get tower down. Like, maybe that was through auto attack. The ammo!
Oh, the ammo. Nasus armor reduction with Ashe being there. It's just damage galore for OneSnap Catalyst. But look at Aurelia's position. The flank is perfect. They have the force. Nautilus ultimate will be there. Aurelia into the backside. Stuns onto Morgana. And Aurelia has just forced out the flash onto Den. Shyvana onto the Dragon Form. Ken is in danger. Riven coming right through, but the Hextech ultimatum locks her down.
Wow.
But instead, Jones in front lines will able to turn it back
Wow.
around. Yeah, is in danger. Meteor enter once again, forcing out the flash for Nautilus. And right now, MDH is gone. They're broken down. OneSnap Catalyst will secure the ace.
And that's the fight OneSnap has been waiting for. Setting up the wave and forcing Aurelia in a team fight scenario. For me, MVP of that fight, it has to be Den. The timing of her Black Shield, the binding, and her positioning made that team fight much better for OneSnap. And again, we saw the ults coming in, like Darius's ult on the Nautilus on towards Ken. Good, amazing Black Shield timing. And then boom, a lot of free hits. And was able to eliminate some of the members coming from MDH.
Yeah, definitely. I think Den at this point has just so much damage. And the CC potential of a Morgana has so much value when it comes to team fights. And I want to put a commendable play for Jones as well, because Jones went over the wall, Hextech ultimatum onto Aurelia, so Aurelia can't go away. And remember, Aurelia is the star player for MDH Esports, is the one that is also fed. So locking her down will be crucial on the team fights, and they just won it. They got the ace, and now they're on a huge lead.
And she's really one of the scariest members, just as you said right now. She's amazing on a 1v1 standpoint, but on a team fight, it's much easier to shut her down with a lot of CCs to work with. Wow, MDH! They know this, they know this, they know!
Yeah, taking too much time, and MDH Esports has to retreat. They cannot break down the Baron Nashor just like that. And Nautilus pinned down CC Chain, going to be flawless. Light Binding will root down onto Nautilus, but too tanky for able to make it back. Aurelia, she's on Jones. Not pushed through on that fight. Zed into the back line, get the kill onto Mien. And now they're back in, they're retreating, they're going back to safety. Tiamo will be the next target. The stuns onto Navis. They're gonna be able to secure Tiamo. The only one left standing is Aurelia, but the Nexus is being shredded down by OneSnap Catalyst. You're clinging for the last hope, but it's already over before they are able to defend. And OneSnap Catalyst strikes first in the quarterfinals.
What a game! I mean, we were asking this Infinity, what kind of game or series are we gonna get in the spectrum? Are we gonna get an incredibly close game, an incredibly dominant game? But this felt like a very center, like it's quite in the middle. Like we saw Aurelia having a lot of solo kills, having to deal with Rogi, having to deal with Jones, but eventually this could not translate into that split push that we were hoping to see from Aurelia, as it was a very strong 1-3-1. And the fact that OneSnap Catalyst forced Aurelia to join 5v5s around the Baron Pit. OneSnap did an amazing job removing that pressure off of that top lane and then making it basically into a big 5v5.
Absolutely. It's just amazing stuff coming in from OneSnap Catalyst that they were able to do. And as we stated a while ago, their utility is too much. They have Nasus, Ashe, Den with the Morgana. They have Jones with the Camille. Right? They have just so much utility to utilize when it comes to CC, when it comes to slow, immobilization.
Did you know, Infinity?
Not yet.
Nasus's Wither is so slow that it's a stun. It's that slow.
Wait. Can you repeat that?
Nasus's Wither is so slow that it's a stun.
Okay.
Yeah,
Makes sense. I get it now. But you know what? Something interesting that I've noticed from OneSnap Catalyst. Have you seen their triple meteor engine?
Oh yeah, I amazing.
They had 3.
Like,
What?
oh, there's another one. Amazing. I love it. It's a meta.
Yeah, it's just like what damage, vision. It's like 25% HP, so I think it's really, really good at the moment, and it's still quite on the mystery side. If it's like a spammable enchant that you can use for like 5 people, it is really amazing on team fights. Or if it's not, it really depends still. Like it's the debate: Gargoyle enchant, Locket enchant, Meteor enchant. There's a lot to consider.
There's too much. There's a lot. I'm excited to see how the teams creatively use these.
Yeah, we'll see. If OneSnap Catalyst is going to do the same thing that we have just seen from game number 1. They're already at match point, so we'll see how this will turn out if the enemy team can make it back. But before then, we're going to take a short break, and I'm Infinity, and this is Riku. And don't go away. Wildrift Open 4, we'll come back. Welcome back, everyone, to the FSL Wildrift Open 4, where queens are born. I'm Infinity, and this is Riku, and we're back for the quarterfinals, game 2, between OneSnap Catalyst and MDH Esports, and that game 1 was hell of a banger of a game.
Oh yeah, the fact that it was very close to the very first 10 minutes of the game. You know, on the side of MDH, it was Aurelia getting a lot of solo kills all on her own, and then we've got on the opposite side of the spectrum, like as a team, we've been seeing the arrows hitting elsewhere, and then that's how they're managing to get picks here and there. Rogi, most particularly, is able to get that 1-3-1 split going as the Zed, but then, boom, force into a 5v5. Let's throw out the split push out of the window and just fight as a team, and that's how OneSnap is able to achieve victory in game number 1.
Yeah, so right now, though, what will MDH Esports have to do to match up the pacing of OneSnap Catalyst? Because even if OneSnap Catalyst went in for a 1-3-1 composition, as you've stated, they went in for a team fight that just overwhelmed MDH Esports at that point. They cannot match up the pacing of their enemy team.
Yeah, I think for me, it's more banking solely on Aurelia. I think for me that having the Shyvana doesn't really translate as a jungler to giving resources to Aurelia. I think for me it has something, maybe a jungler that can set up even more to double down on Aurelia's lead. So for me on the next draft, I am expecting MDH to play something that enables Aurelia even more, and less on the side of having to constantly farm to get ahead in the game and constantly rely on getting these dragons to get ahead in the game.
Yeah, because the early game, right, Aurelia was just phenomenal. The dominance up against Jones. So I want to see more of that, but having more of a team fight composition that they're able to match up the pacing of OneSnap Catalyst as a whole all throughout the game. So we'll see how that would turn out in the picks and bans, as the draft is already ready for game 2 for the quarterfinals.
Let's go. Will MDH take this game, take the series back into their favor? And it all starts here in this draft, as we're seeing MDH prioritize this Jace most likely again towards the side of Aurelia, who has been performing super duper well. Meanwhile, in OneSnap, going back to the Nasus, are we going to be seeing the Ashe again? Looks like that's
Senna?
no. Yeah, Senna. Nostalgic.
Yeah,
we're back at it again with the
yeah.
What do I say? Starving Nasus. Starving Senna. Fasting Senna.
Yeah.
Oops.
And this is more perfect. Why?
Why?
You have 2 support items now.
True. Both of you can just rack up gold all on your own. Rather in the dual lanes. This is perfect. And Senna gets it does her usual. And then Nasus gets the stacks in. Oh, okay. Here we go, Infinity. Remember what we were expecting? Something that can give resources to Aurelia. If this is a Jace top and a Gragas jungle, then we got the formula, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jace, Gragas equals. I don't know.
You can do it. You can do it.
I don't know. Dude.
I wish I knew too. You know, like I.
Gragas Jace combo.
Yes.
Perfect.
We'll just go with that. We'll just go with that. Leona, on the other hand, though, so all of these utility, all of this stuns and tankiness makes me wonder where else this direction is gonna go, because they can opt for a poke composition with this because they've got both engage and disengage. So perhaps a Ziggs, perhaps a Varus may come into play here on MDH's side.
Yeah. They have to have a hyper carry at this point in time. You're fighting up against Senna and Nasus, and when you only have Jace, when you only have Gragas, when you only have Leona to utilize in your composition, this is not going to work up against an infinite scaling champions in the bottom lane. So they have to produce, or they have to show something that can carry the whole team, that can carry the whole game, especially with a Jace that couldn't carry late game.
That's true. I mean, if they go they opt for something like a Vayne or a Kai'Sa, maybe the Nas is just gonna wither and then just deny any sort of what do you call this, attacks on against MDH, or rather against OneSnap. So if they want to go for the safe side and just farm safely, I think the Varus may be a good option here. Renekton though, I'm interested to see how this Renekton is gonna go, especially if it's up against the Jace. I assume. Wait a minute.
Ooh.
Okay, Kha'Zix.
This is like a WCS
This is a
lineup.
WCS. Are we back at like WCS finals? Wow, from months ago.
Right?
This is so
With
nostalgic.
Nasus Senna, you have Kha'Zix, you have Renekton. This is classics. This is what we call the 90s lineup.
This Wild Rift year one of the first half of the 90s to you, does it feel like the 90s Infinity?
Well, not really, but
Were you even born in
You
the
get a point.
90s?
classic. Nope. I'm still, just overseeing what's happening. I'm a friendly ghost.
Got it. Got it. Casper's also the 90s, but you're making a lot of these 90s references. I am very impressed. Anyway, Kha'Zix, how does OneSnap top this off to make this the complete Wild Rift year one composition? And the mid lane, we're looking at the mid lane. Akshan, Zed's banned though. Akshan.
I don't know. I mean, OneSnap, they have Corki and Gary.
Oh yeah,
right?
Corki,
So-
Corki, yeah. Corki. Wait, I don't want to celebrate.
Don't tell me
I don't want to celebrate yet. It's a kill!
it's a
It's
KO.
a kill. Another queen in the mid lane.
They're triple downing on the late game.
It's super interesting because usually you want like a disengage on your
Yeah.
side to slow down the game. But this is like OneSnap saying we're confident that we're going to reach that point and we're confident to fight you just in case. I mean, if I look at the lane, if it's a Garen mid lane, the kill should be fine to safe properly. If it's a Garen top lane, Renekton and Kha'Zix will have a difficult time killing the Garen. So we'll see how this is going to go.
We'll see. But with OneSnap Catalyst going in for this specific draft composition, with Jace being a strong early game champion, and with MDH going for like a triple down late game comp, this would be fine for 1SC, honestly.
I think so too, yeah. MDH on the other hand has a bit of a window. I think the mid game is going to be incredibly strong
wait.
for them.
It's MDH who was the one who's going for an early game comp.
Yeah. Yes,
It's
sir.
opposite.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
OneSnap. I am excited to see this super duper late game scaling comp. So 4 champions are late game scaling except the Renekton. So I think Jonas has a lot of pressure to make sure that she doesn't lose the 1v1 against Jace. Like, it's not like it's a given that she must not lose to Aurelia at all from early to mid game, or else their last point of defense for the rest of the people to scale from OneSnap is gone. They're gonna have a hard time reaching the 15-minute, 20-minute mark rather.
So expectedly, if they're going for a really late game composition, and OneSnap Catalyst is able to hold on for a really long time, this could definitely top off that 36-minute game match that we had just a while ago.
So true, bestie. So true. I mean, it will depend on Aurelia and Jonas' performance, I feel like.
Oh yeah.
Aurelia, if she's able to get solo kills once more, then OneSnap will have a difficult time for the rest of the lanes to grow.
So we'll see how that would turn out. Because at the moment, OneSnap Catalyst, what they're doing is just right. They have to play it very safe in this early game. They cannot afford to go in to overextend a bit.
Yeah.
Because if they do, they're gonna be easily punished. That's applicable into the mid lane. That's applicable into the bottom lane. And even the top lane as well. I mean, that's Aurelia. We've seen her prowess just a while back. So Jones is also respecting that.
Sure. Look at Jones already below experience. Level 3 Aurelia. Jonas is about to reach level 2 just now. So Aurelia managing the waves, not letting any last hit whatsoever on the side of the Renekton at all. And, you know, I feel like because of how the game state is progressing, I'm expecting a chill game number 2, especially there's a lot on the line. Like, they cannot force to make mistakes. Wait, I speak too soon. I spoke too soon. Den? Might be
Hit them.
Jump!
Yeah, they're going for a jump. They're going for a battle here. But Aurelia forcing out the flash over the wall. That's already a good thing for OneSnap Catalyst. Now this disables MDH Esports to be able to go aggressive up against Jones in a 1v1. But look at this. Jones forcing out the flash once again. According, but it gets ignite from Aurelia. Take. First blood for MDH.
Like a 4-code. And I feel like, you know, Jones had to take the other way around so that's not to drag other members into Den's direction as well. And that's first blood. Aurelia and MDH does it again. The ammo.
And that's crazy to think about. I mean, maybe this is the reason why they have Garen to the mid lane, but able to roam elsewhere in silence and just be wrecking havoc and Rift in other parts of the map. Just look at that. Ken and Navis, huge respect onto MDH Esports in the first 5 minutes into that matchup. It just has to be done that way. If not, it's just too risky.
Do you listen to K-pop? In JDD?
Sometimes I do.
Do you know the reference of Navis?
Nope.
Espa!
Oh,
yeah! Navis calling.
Oh!
Yeah!
Now
I'm
I know.
so happy.
Hey! Shoutouts to C-Chat.
Yep. Level 5 get. Next level. So fun. Anyway.
Now going back.
Yeah, I wanted to bring up how Rogi will have to be very patient here on the Kale, because you gotta get to the next level to evolve your Kale.
Okay. Okay, Riku, with the references.
I built up.
I see where you're going.
I wanted to build that up, but I'm done now. Go ahead.
But I mean, that's absolutely right, because as a Kale, you want level 15.
Yes.
As much as possible.
Yes.
When you reach that point, the game's over.
Yep.
Especially if you are on a level, even level playing field up against the enemy team and you're Kale level 15 with like stacked items. You just can't be defeated, even if you go 1v9.
I wonder what Rogi's going for. A build. The mix.
Probably AP. Because you have Rift Maker, then you have what do you call this? Nashor's 2 to utilize as well.
What about Lich
So
Bane maybe?
new AP items.
Nashor's, Lich
Could
Bane.
possibly be as well.
Could be. Yeah.
I mean, it really depends onto Rogi at this point in time. Like, what do you want to do? Do you want to go for the route of bursting down through skills? Or do you want to go for that auto-attack route wherein utilize Nashor's 2, Rift Maker, so on and so forth, Rabadons. So it really could be that option for her as well.
I think Magic would be appropriate, considering that everything's AD already on the side of OneSnap. So I'm excited to see full
point.
Kale build, because that's always fun to watch. Level 15 full Kale build. Ooh, just going ham. But MDH, okay, it has calmed down a little bit. It's like OneSnap said, okay, we have to like stabilize the game because our win condition is scaling anyway. So as long as we don't give like opportunities for Aurelia to kill, we're gonna be fine. We're gonna win the late game. So I like this approach more now.
Yeah, what I could consider for this game too specifically, is a ticking time bomb, or a game based on time.
Yeah.
Right? MDH Esports only has a limited amount of time to be able to win this game with a crucial early game lead. Because if they don't, it's such a difficult time to be able to make it back. The kill reaches that point of no return.
And that's why MDH...
When it comes to scale.
True. And that's why MDH is so pressured to find something right now. Like, Mia has to get the body slam, but...
Going through.
Whoa!
Coming up though, the flash coming from Dan just to outplay. Magnificent
What?
stuff there from OneSnap Catalyst, but Rogi solo kill onto a Garen?
What happened? 4v4.
Right now with another crazy scenario to look at in the mid lane fight or river fight coming through for the objective. As Rogi uses the ultimate to be able to just buy some time, be invulnerable, and Aurelia is now stuck in between 4 members of OneSnap Catalyst. With that said, no jungles for MDH, no possibility of making that contest happen. OneSnap secures it for
Rogi must be so happy getting a double kill and a solo kill onto the Garen, speeding up the level, speeding up the farm of a kill. That is the best case scenario. OneSnap now being incredibly patient, focusing heavily on team fights instead of the big 1v1s that Aurelia has been very proficient on. And the way that they maneuver around these fights, my word, is just really, really good. And they'll be happy about this lead. 4K gold lead and Infernal Drake. These champions are gonna hurt even more.
Yeah, and at this point in time, 7 minutes into the matchup, yes, it's not late game, but OneSnap already has 4K gold lead. So they're able to manage being quite a bit of aggression, or showing a bit of aggression here in the Rift. You know, looking at Den, you have a bit of an extension there in the bottom side of the map. You have Kale having to just clear out the ways up against Garen because they can afford it.
Yeah, they're just whittling down that tower HP and fine with it. Jones though, she has her ult in case she gets dove upon. He's gonna climb. Den and the rest are also moving towards top, so Wild Turret has fallen. We'll see if Rogi is able to finish off this game. We need it!
They're looking to kill down Rogi, and they absolutely need that. Level 10 though,
now.
which makes Rogi now a difficult champion to 1v1 up against. Even team fights later on, they have to target Rogi first as much as possible in this game.
And the question is, how do you attack the backline? Because as the game progresses, Rogi's range is going to be increased even more. So, what is your backline axis? I think the only one that is able to reach is Darius. You Zenith played into whoever, and then you Solar Flare on to Rogi. And the problem is that while Darius can reach the backline, how can other people catch up? So I think the alternative...
Oh!
Wow.
No way. How can Rogi get away with these kills?
That's too many. That's wow. This is
just no way.
This is going out of control now. Oh, double man. Nice. Here's the thing. I think Mia is the alternative. So Mia has to flash body slam and explosive cast to send Rogi out of position, and that's how you eliminate a Kale. A Kale, while has the invulnerable ult, I really think she's squishy enough to the point that people can just burst her down if she's cut out of position. So that is a leeway that I'm seeing for MDH. And we can see that in action for this Rift Herald phase.
Yeah, but it's difficult because especially when you're considering a Sen and Nasus, right? And a Renekton to have like heals for Kale. Just too much. And on top of that, looking at Kill as well, she got like what, 3 kills
Oh
already?
yeah, a lot of kills. I think it's 4
Yeah.
to 3.
3
Three
kills
kills.
and 1 assist. You have Nashers and Riftmaker as well, so whew, dangerous position for MDH.
That's too much, and now they have Referral too, removing another tier of a tower in the mid lanes and more space. Look at it, everyone's HP bar is full. Whoa!
Oh, that's a double
Meteor
shower.
again!
Just look at the HP being gone. Now Senna with the ultimate, actually just perfect.
Dead.
And right now, dead. Navis uses up the ultimate. Well, Kale uses up the ultimate on Navis. Might just be wanting to save Den's life, but it's too late. It's a 1-for-1 though. And good enough for Rift Herald to be able to push in. Goal achieved.
Yep, as long as the tower is gone, I think it's still very much worth the 1-for-1 exchange. And look at the resources now. I think they're giving a lot to Rogi at this point because she's the most fed member. She's been getting a lot of kills. So, okay, Rogi, you can take the farm, you can take the red buff, take anything, take everything. Because we know that MDH at this point doesn't have anyone to match up against Rogi. Unlike earlier, game number 1, Rogi's getting kills, but Aurelia was getting kills as well. It's easy to do a 1v1 scenario and just match that energy, match that power output. This time, no one can match Rogi. You gotta enter this 5v5 and pour all your resources onto her.
Yeah, and that is also one of the reasons why what we talked about a while ago, how Rogi would be the target for MDH. She really should be the target. When it comes to team fight, priority. Because if not, if she's able to free hit, your team's gonna be gone in a couple of seconds.
I wonder if they, OneSnap has the luxury of time though for top side because it feels like Aurelia is starting to rack up some turret plates again. Turret damage again. But they get the dragon once more.
And it's quick. Didn't even take them a couple of seconds. It's just not the dragon's gone.
Nope. Yeah, with Kha'Zix, with Rogi on this scale, this makes things so fast, so fast.
Yeah. And even then, you know what? We keep on talking about Rogi, and yes, she will be the star player for OneSnap Catalyst, but we also have to point out that Ken and Navis are also scaling champions.
Oh yeah. Meteor again.
Look at Darius just walking through the path.
More kills for Rogi?
All around. And Rogi just can't do this.
It's like they're hurting.
She's farming players.
Yes, so after she's done with the camp, she goes to hunt for players. And now this is sieging time, possibly? Oh no.
Possibly. MDH doesn't have the support to be able to utilize that explosive cast. Will not be able to isolate anyone from OneSnap. So that's an ulti burned. Nothing to convert it to. The reset's going to be a clever move for OneSnap because look at the timers, 3 seconds before the Baron comes up.
Right now, the avenue, because OneSnap is ahead of the game, and Rogi is the biggest problem. Now MDH has to look towards going for Aurelia and what she does best, which is split pushing. Because we saw earlier she was doing a little bit of damage towards the second part of the map. If you can't fight in team fights, split them up!
Oh, the root onto Q, that's massive, but
the damage!
Follow up.
Insane!
Yeah. OneSnap has the information for the 4-man roam of MDH, so you have to respect it.
I think right now MDH has no choice but to split OneSnap up. Because they can't fight them head on. Like Aurelia will just have to shadow zone as much as possible and then reduce towers, whittle them away as possible. Because if you look at the engage of OneSnap, they don't really have. And as I say that, they're engaging right now.
Yeah, and OneSnap Catalyst going for the full on engage. Then with the ultimate being able to secure Garen in that fight. And now Darius to come up next. That's already a triple kill for OneSnap. MDH Esports with Mie and Aurelia alive. Can they even defend this? Because at this point, Rogi even as well is going for just free farm on top side. Gold galore for the hyper carry for OneSnap.
Yeah, just farming up the storm here. And I know I said earlier that OneSnap doesn't really have engage, but if you stand close to them and Navius just slows you down and then you have the root after by the Senna,
Yeah.
That counts as engaged. I guess that counts.
Yeah. Could be. I mean, that's sufficient enough. On top of like Jones being able to just solo stun with a single targeted stun, that could work. That could work out in favor for OneSnap Catalyst indeed. And the reason why we see a lot of Senna's and NASA's before in the past, what we've talked about, is just the utility behind these two champions in the bottom lane that makes them so much of a valuable pickup and a valuable options in the rift. Like, just imagine, even a Senna Gragas, a Senna Nasus, all of them have utility to be able to utilize when it comes to team fights. And later on, in the late game, Senna's damage is insane.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's the scary part about the mist. You don't know who you're gonna get.
Yeah.
Okay, nice one.
It's like a mystery box.
Yep, it's a mystery box and you don't want it because it's scary.
Pressing out the flash over the wall. Go back to safety. They can't afford to lose a member here. The Baron alive. Too risky for MDH.
Now with the approximately 10k gold lead pretty much, they can force the basically add pressure towards the Baron pit. Look at Darius. So low. Meteor!
Yeah, this is what we talked about. Meteor.
Baron restarted though.
Yeah. What's up, Catalyst? Going to force out the Baron Nasher. No information for MDH Esports. Now they do. Aurelia has seen them going for the Baron at this point. But will not be able to push through. Aurelia just has to go back. Me as well. Going for the explosive gas massive, but no follow through. The rest of the crew
Wow!
MDH.
Rogi!
And now Rogi just following up. The ultimate coming in is vulnerable. And at this point, everyone's just getting melted by OneSnap. That's already a triple kill for
Wow.
Rogi. Make it for the aces there for OneSnap. And this is a game-ending push. The Baron is there. Minions are there. The Nexus is open. The meter entrance. Just a little bit of extra as OneSnap wins the quarterfinals up against MDH.
And OneSnap Catalyst with an amazing, strong 2-0. And from winning game number 1 through team fights and now winning this through getting kills and getting Rogi ahead. Look at her. 704 already. And the triple meteor that we were talking about, Infinity, they have it again.
Yeah. It's just too much damage.
It's a lot of
if
damage.
you think about it on paper, like 25% each and every single time. Especially when it comes to like the beginning of a team fight, right?
Mhm.
Imagine like a 25% damage immediately. So it's kind of on the OP end if it's used correctly.
Yeah, and that's one of those things where it's good for execution too. Like sometimes you find enemies that escape with 1 HP, 2 HP. Oh, surprise! We've got a meteor for you. Oh, it missed? Oh, we got another one. Oh, we've got a third one. Surprise! So I think it's a really, really creative way. It's a really good way to use the enchant. And Rogi is the star of game number 2. What an amazing Kale performance. We were worried, but she did it so well.
Yeah, she performed. She performed out of this world. What, 7 kills throughout the game, 0 deaths. But the shocking thing that I'm noticing right now is that Navis was the highest damage dealer for OneSnap all throughout that game.
Oh, true.
It's not Rogi, it's not Den, it's not Jones, it's not Ken, it's Navis.
I think she's been laying down the poke a lot through whenever they just, do the stare down in the mid lane. I think it's Navis's poke that's doing a lot of damage.
Yeah. Amazing stuff. Pro 3 series, I think it's a roller coaster.
It has been a roller coaster.
Game 1, 3 games.
Yep.
36 minutes. Game 2, a little bit on the middle side of things when it comes to finishing up a game. And the quarterfinals, 3rd game, quick games.
Yeah, and it was a very different theme. Like I think the first 2 series that we had a lot of top laners involved in split pushing and then opening up the base, and that makes things harder to use your lead and get through dragons because again you don't have space. You're too busy defending the base. This time around, it's like very early kills. And then having to fight and force 5v5 team fights. I think I love the different flavors we're having here at the Wild Rift Open 4.
Yeah, and when seeing all these 3 series come together for Wild Rift Open 4, I think this signals a bit on what we could expect tomorrow on the semifinals, on the grand finals. And speaking of which, if we could show the people, the viewers, the bracket that we have on who's going to perform in semifinals and grand finals, that would be amazing.
There we go.
Look at this, Riku.
I am looking. Right now, we're on our way towards the semifinals as we see Sharper Esports going up against the match that just transpired, which is the winner, OneSnap Catalyst, and of course. Another familiar name, Grind Sky Aries as well, on towards the semifinals, and still waiting who wins against MHX Lotus Ladies and OneSnap Amazons. I mean, it's I'm excited to see how that's going to transpire as well, as there are also there's also another OneSnap team, which is the Amazons.
Yeah, it's going to be one banger of a semifinals tomorrow.
Oh, for sure.
And of course, the winner. And the winner for the semifinals will, of course, go to the grand finals to battle for the championship title and be the queens of League of Legends Wild Rift for the 4th iteration of the FSL Wild Rift Open. And Riku,
Yes.
we just saw the new patch
Oh,
transpiring,
yeah.
and I don't know what to expect tomorrow.
We at least know one thing: the meteor ones are very funny.
Yeah.
Not
Three
not
meteors.
funny, haha, funny, but like cool funny. You know, like you're always looking forward to it being used in fights or as executions.
Yeah, especially when it comes to creativeness of these teams and these players. And of course, this tournament will not be possible without our sponsors, Intel and Yahoo. Thank you very much for supporting this tournament. Enrico, any last words before we actually take an end on the quarterfinals day that we have?
I'm so excited to see how it's gonna transpire tomorrow because we've seen a little bit of a preview on how the patch goes already and how these players have evolved throughout the entirety of FSL and not only the 4th iteration. So I'm excited to see how semifinals and the grand finals gonna go tomorrow.
All right, I'm excited. I echo your thoughts there, Riku. Tomorrow, queens will be throned. And let's see who these teams are, who these players are. So stay tuned for tomorrow, guys. Follow the social medias for FSL to keep updated. But that's it for day number 1 for the Wild Rift Open 4. My name is Infinity, and beside me is Riku, and we are your shotcasters for day 1 of this tournament. Bye-bye!
Bye bye. See you tomorrow.